is under siege.
We are all that is left.
They've searched the universe for a leader.
Stay tuned for scenes from next week's Galaxy Quest.
Never give up, never surrender.
Welcome to Cinematic Secrets Unlocked, where your favorite movies reveal their hidden truths. Today we're diving into the unbelievable journey of Galaxy Quest, the sci-fi parody that became a legend. This is the untold story behind the laughs, from on-set meltdowns to improvised magic and last-minute rescues. Fans have worshipped this movie for 25 years, but few know what happened behind the scenes. So hit subscribe, grab your popcorn, and explore the secrets of Galaxy Quest that have been hidden for decades. Sigourney Weaver's character originally had a much bigger role. When Sigourney Weaver first read the script, her character, Gwen DeMarco, had actual technical skills. She was written as someone who understood the ship's computer systems and helped solve problems throughout the movie. Test audiences saw this version in early screenings, but something felt wrong. The comedy wasn't landing the way the filmmakers wanted. People were confused about what Gwen actually did on the show within the show, so the writers made a difficult decision. They cut almost all of Gwen's technical dialogue and reduced her role to repeating what the computer said. This became a famous joke where she complains about her useless job. Weaver herself pitched the idea after getting frustrated with the rewrites. She asked the writers, "Why does my character even have a station? What is my purpose here?" That question became her character's entire arc. The original cut included 3 major scenes where Gwen saved the day using her knowledge of alien technology. Fans have looked for these deleted scenes for years, but editor Don Zimmerman says they were removed entirely from the final files. This means the footage might not exist anymore. Weaver has talked about this in many interviews. She said her character's minor role made the movie funnier and more truthful about how women were shown on science fiction shows in the 60s and 70s. Her complaint about repeating the computer became a commentary on how female characters were given busy work instead of real responsibilities. What seemed like a demotion for her character became one of the movie's smartest jokes. Sometimes less really is more. Last minute costumes. Before filming began, the special effects team made alien costumes for the Thermians. These weren't basic outfits. They were full body suits with moving faces controlled by wires and motors. Each costume cost over $50,000 and took 6 months to make. Everyone agreed they looked great in the workshop.
Maybe I could sit in and sign a couple autographs?
Bye, Grab.
Until they tested them on camera, and it was a complete disaster. The costumes were too bulky for the actors and stopped them from moving naturally. Worse, the actors inside the suits couldn't deliver their lines properly because the mouthpieces restricted their speech. Director Dean Parisot watched the test footage and realized they had a massive problem. Filming was supposed to start in 3 weeks. The solution came from makeup designer Gordon Smith. He suggested stripping away almost everything. Instead of full alien suits, they decided to use minimal prosthetics. They relied on the actors' physical performances to sell the alien nature of the Thermians. The idea was risky. If the actors couldn't make it work, the Thermians would look like humans with weird foreheads. Enrico Colantoni, who played Matasar, created the Thermian style. The other actors playing Thermians copied him, and it worked. What could have been a cheap-looking compromise became one of the most memorable alien species in science fiction comedy. Sometimes technical disasters force you into better creative choices. Tim Allen improvised the most quoted line. In the entire movie, "Never give up, never surrender" is not just a catchphrase, it's become a real-life motto for people dealing with hard times. Fans have tattooed it on their bodies. It's been quoted in graduation speeches and wedding vows. The line defines everything Galaxy Quest stands for. But here's the secret. It was never in the original script. Tim Allen made it up during a rehearsal. The original script had Jason Nesmith saying something much longer and more complicated about believing in yourself and trusting your crew. Allen thought it sounded too complicated. He pitched "Never give up, never surrender" to director Dean Parisot, and Parisot loved it immediately. They tried it in the next take, and Allen delivered the line perfectly, which everyone on set knew was special. The phrase appeared several times in the script after that first improvisation. Each time it got bigger reactions from test audiences, and that made the movie as special as it is today. Many fans do not know that this scene almost got cut from the movie. The first time the team tried to design the rock monster, the animation files were too large. The computers kept crashing every few minutes. One of the animators later said that the beast almost broke the computers. They had to rebuild the model repeatedly until it finally looked right.
Go ahead! There's no time. Get in! Get in!
Even after that, the movement was tricky. The monster needed to look heavy, powerful, and realistic, while still fitting the funny tone of Galaxy Quest. The animators studied how rocks fall, roll, and break to make the creature's body feel real. When the scene was finally finished, everyone cheered. It became one of the most memorable moments in the film. Today, fans still talk about how real that monster looked, proof that hard work and creativity can save even the most challenging movie problems. Ship interior lighting malfunctions. The inside of the spaceship protector looked bright, clean, and futuristic on screen. Yet behind the scenes, the lighting almost drove the crew crazy. The ship's set was filled with hundreds of small fluorescent lights, hidden behind glass panels and walls to make everything glow like a real starship. It looked amazing on camera, but it came with a huge problem. After only a short time, the lights got extremely hot. During filming, the heat caused several short circuits that shut down entire sections of the set. Alan Rickman, who played the serious and funny Dr. Lazarus, later shared that the lights would flicker every time someone leaned too close to the set wall. This made shooting difficult because scenes had to stop repeatedly for repairs. Even though the cast laughed about it later, at the time, it was stressful. Still, those glowing walls became part of Galaxy Quest's magic look. Every time fans see the bright halls of the Protector, they see the hard work and patience of a team fighting absolute technical chaos. The Thermian voice filter glitch. The Thermians in Galaxy Quest are some of the most memorable aliens ever seen in a sci-fi comedy. Their calm, robotic way of talking became one of the film's funniest details. However, getting that voice effect right was a real problem during production. The sound team created a special digital voice filter to make the Thermians sound different from humans. It was supposed to give their voices a soft, echo-like tone, almost like a computer speaking politely. When the first version of the filter was tested, though, it went completely wrong. The voices became so distorted that no one on set could understand what the actors were saying.
Nobody was watching?
All right, listen up. Here's the plan. Gwen, Fred, Alex, and I will go down and get a speak.
Director Dean Parasote later explained in an interview that no one could understand a single word they were saying. The problem was so bad that the team had to re-record nearly every Thermian line from the movie after filming. The actors had to come back to the studio to repeat all their dialogue, this time using a simpler version of the voice filter. The glitch delayed post-production for several weeks, but the final result was worth it. The Thermians' voices became one of the movie's most unique features. What started as a big mistake became one of Galaxy Quest's most recognizable and loved sound effects. Alan Rickman and Tim Allen did not get along. At first, when filming started, Alan Rickman and Tim Allen were not on the best of terms. This made things tense at the beginning. Crew members said that sometimes Alan looked annoyed when Tim joked too much during severe scenes. Over time, something changed. They began to respect each other's style. Alan started to laugh at Tim's humor, and Tim began to admire how focused Alan was. By the end of filming, they had become close friends. Many fans never knew this friendship started with frustration. Both men later said that their differences made the movie better. Alan's calm, serious tone balanced Tim's loud, funny energy, creating one of the most loved duos in science fiction comedy history. Villain. At first, before Galaxy Quest became the movie we know, the early script looked very different. Alan Rickman's character, Alexander Dane, was first written as a true villain. The writers imagined him as a parody of old science fiction villains, almost like Ming the Merciless from the classic Flash Gordon stories. As production moved forward, the team realized the idea did not fit the movie's heart. Director Dean Parasote and the writers wanted every main character to be flawed but human. They changed Dane from an evil genius into a proud, frustrated actor who once played a heroic alien on television. Alan Rickman loved this new version. He said in interviews that it gave him real emotion to play with, not just a flat villain role. Those rewrites made all the difference. Instead of being another over-the-top bad guy, Alexander Dane became one of the most beloved characters in Galaxy Quest. What began as a villain's part became one of Alan Rickman's most touching performances. Fake website that fooled real fans. The studio created one of the first movie websites to promote Galaxy Quest. Instead of looking like a normal film site, it pretended that Galaxy Quest was an old television show from the 1970s. The page included fake episode guides, made-up cast biographies, timelines, and even pretend fan art. There was also a made-up webmaster named Travis Lotke, who posted updates just like a real superfan would.
Where'd they go? Back inside? I don't know.
Nobody was watching?
All right.
At the time, the people who visited the site believed it was real. Online fandom was still new, and the idea of a fake fan page created by a movie studio was utterly unheard of. Some early visitors even sent emails asking where they could buy Galaxy Quest tapes, thinking they had missed a real series from years before. The marketing team behind the site said they wanted to blur the line between fiction and reality, just like the movie itself. It worked better than anyone expected. The website became one of the first viral marketing successes in movie history. Years later, film historians and fans still point to it as an early example of immersive online storytelling far ahead of its time. Alien Planet of Goblin Valley. The strange alien world in Galaxy Quest was not created with computers or studio sets. It was filmed in a real place called Goblin Valley State Park in Utah. The landscape there already looks like something from another planet, with hundreds of odd, round rock shapes that seem to rise from the desert floor. Director Dean Parisot and the crew chose it because it looked so unreal that it needed almost no digital effects to pass as an alien world. The area had only a rough dirt road leading to the strange rock formations, so the production paid to improve the road, laying down new asphalt to make it safe for large trucks, lighting rigs, and camera gear. That upgrade later helped Utah's Park Service, making the area more accessible for tourists. The cast described filming there as both beautiful and exhausting. The heat was intense, and the dust covered everything. Yet everyone agreed that the natural shapes of the valley gave the movie its unforgettable look. The alien planet scenes still stand out today for their realism, achieved without relying on computer graphics. Aspect ratio shifts. TV versus real space. One of the cleverest tricks in Galaxy Quest is how the movie changes the screen shape. At the beginning, when we see the old Galaxy Quest TV show, the picture is more square. Then, as the story moves to the real world, the picture slowly gets wider, showing more on the sides of the screen. Finally, when the characters enter outer space, the screen becomes even wider, matching the grand look of big science fiction movies. It makes everything feel larger, more exciting, and more dramatic. This trick is risky. Some movie theaters at the time had issues with it. Projectionists had to adjust the screens manually, and a few forgot, causing some scenes to look cut off or stretched. Even so, this clever use of aspect ratios remains one of Galaxy Quest's most brilliant technical ideas. From rated to family-friendly. When Galaxy Quest was first written, it was not meant to be the light, family-friendly movie we know today. The original script was actually R-rated, filled with stronger language and more intense action scenes. Director Dean Parisot and the writers had imagined a story that poked fun at Star Trek in a more R-rated way. However, DreamWorks wanted the movie to reach a wider audience, so they decided to make it PG-13. Many lines were rewritten or re-recorded, and a few scenes were deleted. Even though this change frustrated some of the cast and crew, it helped the movie become the fun, all-ages comedy that fans adore today. One of the most famous examples of this change comes from Sigourney Weaver's character, Gwen DeMarco. In one scene, she clearly mouths a curse word, an F-bomb, but the sound was dubbed over with a softer phrase for the PG version. Fans who noticed it found it funny, and it became one of the movie's most talked-about secrets. Over the years, there have been several rumors that the unedited version still exists, but it has never been confirmed or released to the public. Sigourney Weaver loved her wig, so much that she kept it. When Galaxy Quest finished filming, actress Sigourney Weaver decided to take home a very special souvenir, her blonde wig. In the movie, she played Gwen DeMarco, who portrayed Lieutenant Tawny Madison on the fake space show within the story. Gwen's shiny blonde hair was a big part of her character's look, and the wig gave Sigourney a completely different style from what fans usually saw her in. Sigourney said in interviews that she loved how the wig made her feel like a totally different person. It gave her that perfect space hero look while still keeping a bit of humor, since her character was meant to be both glamorous and self-aware. When filming ended, Sigourney asked if she could keep it, and the crew happily agreed. She later joked that she wore it home for fun because it made her laugh whenever she looked in the mirror. The wig became a small but memorable symbol of her character's confidence and comic charm. Years later, fans still talk about Gwen's iconic hair as one of the most recognizable parts of Galaxy Quest's playful style. Steven Spielberg helped create Galaxy Quest's sweetest romance. One of the most surprising facts about Galaxy Quest is that Steven Spielberg, yes, the famous director himself, had a small but significant influence on the story. When Spielberg visited the set during production, he noticed the chemistry between Missy Pyle, who played the sweet alien Laliari, and Tony Shalhoub, who played the calm and funny engineer Fred Kwan. Spielberg thought their connection could add something special to the film. He suggested that the filmmakers expand Missy Pyle's role and include a romantic subplot between her and Shalhoub's character. The idea was simple but powerful. It would show that love could exist even between two completely different species, and it would bring a warm, human feeling to all the space action. The directors and writers loved the idea and quickly added new scenes. These moments became some of the most charming in the movie, showing Fred's kindness and Laliari's curiosity about humans. The first big breaks for Rainn Wilson and Justin Long before becoming household names, Rainn Wilson and Justin Long got their first big break through Galaxy Quest. It was Rainn Wilson's first ever movie role. Before that, he had only appeared in a small part on the soap opera One Life to Live. Though his scenes as an alien were small, Wilson later said that being part of such a creative film gave him a real sense of how movie sets worked. Many of his scenes were cut, but he remembered it as a big learning moment before his rise to fame as Dwight Schrute in The Office. Galaxy Quest also gave Justin Long his first feature film role. He played a nervous young fan who helps the crew from his bedroom computer, a part that turned out to be a fan favorite. Long had only worked with a comedy troupe before landing the part, but his natural humor and energy made him stand out. For both actors, Galaxy Quest was the start of something much bigger. Galaxy Quest promised a return that also echoed Star Trek. At the end of Galaxy Quest, viewers see a fictional trailer announcing the return of the television series within the film's world. The return was said to come a full 18 years after the show originally aired. That moment was not just a clever joke, it was a direct nod to the Star Trek franchise itself. Star Trek saw the same number of years between its original series and its next major television run. The original Star Trek ended in 1969. Its next television series, Star Trek: The Next Generation, premiered in 1987. That was also an 18-year gap, almost precisely matching the one teased in Galaxy Quest. The filmmakers understood what made Star Trek fans feel such loyalty and excitement. That fake trailer at the movie's end felt real to those who grew up on classic science fiction. It mirrored how fans had once waited for their favorite show to return. Not the Enterprise nod. The NSEA Protector's serial number hides a clever inside joke that longtime science fiction fans love. In the film, the Protector's serial number was shown as NTE 3120. Many believe that NTE secretly stands for Not the Enterprise. This playful reference connects directly to Star Trek, the show that Galaxy Quest lovingly parodies and celebrates. The Starship Enterprise clearly inspires the Protector, but it is not meant to be a copy. Even tiny details show how much thought and care went into the movie. Nothing was random. Galaxy Quest's creators built a world that honored Star Trek while becoming a beloved science fiction universe of its own. Improvised demise. Actor Sam Rockwell added a lot of creativity to his character, Guy Fleegman. Sam decided he wanted his character to have no last name and would die quickly in the movie, just like the minor characters who always die early in old sci-fi TV shows. Rockwell said in interviews that he wanted Guy to act paranoid because he believed he was just a background actor who would never survive. His constant fear and nervousness added humor and made the character stand out. Director Dean Parisot encouraged this free acting style, allowing Sam to play with his lines and reactions during scenes. Viewers connected with Guy because he represented the regular person who suddenly finds himself in chaos. Instead of being a forgotten extra, he became one of the heroes. Rockwell's quick thinking and ability to improvise turned a small side role into a fan favorite, proving that sometimes the funniest and most human moments come when actors are allowed just to play. Fred's weird character. Tony Shalhoub's character, Fred Kwan, was made to look like he was high the whole time. That is why he always stayed calm and relaxed, even when crazy things happened. While others were scared or shouting, Fred smiled and kept eating his snacks. Tony Shalhoub later shared in interviews that this choice made sense for the character. Fred never yells or stresses. Instead, he takes everything in stride, whether meeting aliens, flying a spaceship, or fixing strange alien machines. The snack bag he constantly carries was another clue. He always ate or reached for food, which matched the idea that his character was secretly under the influence the whole time. This hidden joke was never said out loud in the film, so most kids and families watching never noticed. Yet, once fans learned the truth from interviews years later, they saw Fred Kwan's relaxed behavior in a whole new, hilarious way, and it became one of the most clever hidden jokes in Galaxy Quest. Secret behind the rock monster. The rock monster was actually a playful tribute to William Shatner. During the making of Star Trek V: The Final Frontier in 1989, Shatner, who both directed and starred in the film, dreamed of ending the movie with a battle against giant rock monsters. It was meant to be a dramatic and epic finale. Unfortunately, the idea never made it past the planning stage. The studio decided the creatures were too expensive to create, and the special effects budget was already stretched thin. Shatner was forced to remove the scene, even though he had already imagined how it would look. When the team behind Galaxy Quest came along years later, they honored that unrealized idea humorously. The rock monster scene, where Jason Nesmith, portrayed by Tim Allen, fights a giant creature on the alien planet, was made to mock the scenes cut from Star Trek playfully. Fans of Star Trek quickly noticed the connection. The filmmakers even joked during production that they were finally giving Shatner his rock monster. It became one of the most memorable moments in Galaxy Quest, a fun mix of action, parody, and affectionate tribute to one of the most famous captains in science fiction history. The actor that shaped the performance. When Enrico Colantoni auditioned for Galaxy Quest, he had a very unusual approach. His performance was so unique that everyone in the room stopped what they were doing. The casting director was utterly amazed. Typically, auditions are private, and clips are not shown to other actors. However, she made an exception this time. She loved Colantoni's performance so much that she broke the usual rules. She took his audition tape and showed it to the rest of the cast and crew as an example of how the Thermians should sound and move.
And it exploded.
Did I just hear that animal turned inside out and then it exploded?
That one choice changed the entire direction of how the alien species was portrayed. Every actor who played a Thermian later studied Colantoni's tape to match his rhythm and body language. Even the director Dean Parisot said Colantoni's interpretation gave the Thermians their heart and identity. It was a rare moment when an actor's creativity reshaped an entire movie. The spaceship accident. The Protector spaceship was one of the Galaxy Quest production's most advanced and expensive parts. Instead of asking the actors to lean in unison during flight scenes, the crew built the entire bridge set on a large mechanical platform that could move in different directions. The platform could shake, tilt, or drop a few feet to create the illusion that the ship was flying through space or being hit by laser blasts. During the first test of this moving set, something went wrong. The entire platform suddenly dropped about 2 feet and shifted sharply to one side. The sudden motion caught everyone off guard, Several cast members were thrown out of their chairs, and 2 heavy stage lights came loose from the ceiling and crashed to the floor. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, but the moment left the crew shaken. After that incident, safety checks were increased, and extra supports were added to prevent another surprise drop. However, many actors later admitted that the near accident helped their performances. The movement felt so real that it added genuine reactions and a sense of chaos during the ship's battle scenes. What began as a small technical problem made those space moments feel even more authentic on screen. An old video game inspired the hallway scene. The crushing blocks hallway scene came from a video game. Writer David Howard was a huge fan of the original Prince of Persia game from the 80s. There's a level where you must time your movements perfectly through gates that slam shut. One wrong move and you die instantly. Howard loved the tension and thought it would be hilarious to watch a real person try to do what video game characters do. The director made it even better by adding the crew watching from the ship. Their reactions make the scene funnier. Tony Shalhoub eating snacks while Jason almost dies wasn't in the script. He just started eating during the take, and the director loved it so much he kept it. Tim Allen trained with stunt coordinators for days to get the timing right. He did some of the rolling and diving himself. The more dangerous stuff used stunt doubles. They blended it so well you can't tell when they switched. Video game logic created one of the best action comedy sequences in the movie. Missy Pyle's character almost had multiple arms. Missy Pyle plays Laliari, the Thermian who falls for Fred. Her look in the movie is memorable, but the original design had her with blue skin, multiple arms, and glowing markings. The design looked exotic and striking in concept art. Then they tried to build it. The various arms needed complex puppetry that never looked natural. The glowing marks needed special lighting that messed up other scenes. The blue makeup took 6 hours and looked chalky on camera. After 2 weeks of testing, they admitted defeat. The makeup artist redesigned Laliari to match other Thermians, but with feminine features. The goal was to make her beautiful by both human and alien standards. What saved the character was Pyle's performance. She played Laliari with genuine sweetness and curiosity. Her chemistry with Tony Shalhoub feels real despite the prosthetics. Pyle said she based Laliari's behavior on her grandmother, who was always fascinated by new things. That innocent wonder made Laliari feel real. Sometimes the best special effects are good acting and simple makeup that lets emotion shine. Almost had a different director. Before Galaxy Quest became the fan favorite it is today, it underwent several significant changes. Director Harold Ramis was the first to lead the production, and he had a very different vision for the film. Ramis originally wanted Alec Baldwin to play the lead role of Jason Nesmith, the self-centered actor who plays Commander Taggart. Baldwin turned the part down early, saying he did not fully connect with the character. Other big names were also in the running. Steve Martin was briefly considered, while Kevin Kline was offered the part, but declined because he wanted to spend more time with his family. Ramis continued searching for a star who could play the character, but the studio eventually cast Tim Allen, then best known for Home Improvement. Reports say Ramis was not happy with that choice. He left the project soon after, feeling Allen was not the right fit for the role. Dean Parisot then stepped in as the new director, bringing a more emotional and self-aware tone to the movie. Years later, Harold Ramis watched Galaxy Quest and changed his mind. He admitted he was impressed with Tim Allen's performance and said Allen gave the character unexpected depth and warmth. The creative disagreement ended with mutual respect between two talented filmmakers. There you have it, 25 secrets, but here are 2 extra secrets about Galaxy Quest. The alien leader named Ceres was one of the most complex creatures to create in Galaxy Quest. His look was created by Stan Winston's studio, the same team that worked on Jurassic Park and The Terminator. They used a special machine that could copy the actor's face movements. This idea was first made for a Planet of the Apes movie that was never finished. This system allowed an actor's facial movements to be copied directly onto the alien's heavy makeup and outer armor. Every snarl, blink, or jaw movement could transfer through cables and servos hidden beneath the prosthetic mask. Stan Winston had been chasing this goal for years. He first experimented with similar techniques when he worked on the Star Wars Holiday Special, building expressive Wookiee heads almost 20 years earlier. For Galaxy Quest, he finally perfected the process. The animatronics were so intricate that several crew members were needed to operate Saris's face during close-up shots. The result was unforgettable. Many fans still consider Saris one of the most convincing alien villains of the late 1990s. Also, Sigourney Weaver's transformation into Gwen DeMarco was one of the most striking parts of Galaxy Quest. Known for her challenging roles in Alien and Ghostbusters, Weaver took on a completely different kind of character. A glamorous sci-fi star modeled after old-school television heroines, she wore a blonde wig and a padded prosthetic to complete the look. In the Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary released in 2019, director Dean Parisot revealed a funny behind-the-scenes detail. During filming, Sigourney was fully committed to the look, sometimes too committed. Parisot laughed as he recalled, "She had these big fake breasts that she kept throwing at us, and she would not take off the blonde wig." The cast and crew found it hilarious. By the end of production, Sigourney had grown attached to her on-screen look. When shooting ended, she decided to keep the wig and the prosthetic as souvenirs from the movie. It became a funny reminder of how she completely embraced the comedic side of Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest is more than just a funny space movie. It is a story about teamwork, second chances, and believing in yourself. Every actor, from Tim Allen to Alan Rickman and Sigourney Weaver, brought something special to the film. The mix of real sets, clever effects, and deep emotions made it timeless. What started as a simple comedy became a movie loved by fans and actors alike. Galaxy Quest proved that even a story about a fake show can become an absolute classic. It changed how parodies are seen and made, giving us an iconic reminder never to give up or surrender. What do you think of these 25 secrets? And which one surprises you the most? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more inspiring content like this. Before you go, kindly watch the other videos on your screen. Thanks for watching.